made it! I knew we would! We now got another year in the books, my friends, but when it comes to Disney, the decisions that were made in 2024 are going to make a huge impact in the parks from here on out, for better or for worse. And we're going to cover those today. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Before we get things started today, I just wanted to say, I'm proud of you. You made it through another year. This might have been the best year ever for you, or it might have been a year you really felt kicked you while you were already down. But regardless, you're here, you're watching this video, and while we're going to be talking a lot about Disney stuff and vacation planning things today, if the only thing you take away from all of this is that I'm proud of you, then I feel like this video has already been a huge success. And we're not even a minute into it. Okay, I know you're not really here for the pep talk, you're here for the Disney tea, and that's exactly what I'm gonna give you. 2024 was packed with Disney news and additions and major highs and lows, so we're gonna start with why 2024 was the best year for Disney, and then talk about why it was the worst. And then I'll let you decide on the final verdict. If you've been keeping up with Disney World this year, then you probably remember what a huge impact January 9th made on the East Coast parks. And if you haven't been keeping up, let me bring you up to speed. After the 2020 COVID closures, Disney had to change a lot of things to make sure operations could still run as smoothly as possible during these unprecedented times. And while many things started to return and reopen and go back to normal in the parks as more time passed, it wasn't until January 9th of 2024 that we finally got to see three major updates we'd been waiting to hear about forever. First up, normal park hopping rules. When the parks reopened after those COVID closures, a restriction was put in place on park hopping that only allowed you to hop to another park after 2 p.m. But when January 9th came around, that rule went poof, out of sight, out of mind. Now you can freely come and go from a park whenever you want to, just like the good old days. Also, one of the major changes that folks were most excited for when January 9th came around, Park Pass reservations left the building, mostly. To help keep the parks at limited capacity, Disney had put Park Pass reservations in place starting in 2020, so you basically had to save your spot in each park before you went on your vacation. Not a huge deal, except when the parks reached their allotted amount of Park Pass reservations. Then you might have found yourself suddenly out of luck and having to book reservations for a park you really weren't planning on going to just because they still had reservations available. Now, people who buy theme park tickets that are tied to a specific date or set of dates won't need Park Passes to get into the parks at all. That being said, Park Pass reservations aren't dead and buried just yet. They're still currently required for those who do not have date-based tickets, including annual pass holders, cast members, and other non-date-based ticket types for conventions and student groups, and select promotional tickets. There are a few exceptions to this rule for annual pass holders, so if you'd like to read more about those instead of me eating a chunk of our time today to try to explain it all, make sure to type in disneyfoodblog.com and Park Pass reservations into your Google search engine. You can find our post dedicated to all things Park Pass. And of course, the Disney Dining Plan. So the Disney Dining Plan is a way for you to prepay for your Disney meals before you head on vacation to the parks. And while you definitely don't need it if you'd prefer to pay out of pocket for food around Disney, lots of folks love the convenience of this service and had been missing it dearly. But the Disney Dining Plan didn't return to us as the plan we knew it as before. Not completely anyways. Nowadays, there are only 2 Disney Dining Plans you can choose from, the Quick Service and the Standard Service, versus the 4 we used to have, which included higher end plans that gave you more table service options and more meals per day. Along with that, we found you could no longer convert 1 quick service meal credit into 3 snack credits, which used to be one of our favorite little hacks. And while additional character dining experiences now cost 2 table service credits instead of just 1, which includes Princess Storybook Dining at Akershus Royal Banquet Hall and Storybook Dining at Artist Point with Snow White at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. On the flip side of things, Fantasmic Dining packages and Epcot's Festival Dining packages, which group your meal with VIP seating for these shows, ended up turning into a much better deal. Instead of all dining packages costing 2 table service credits no matter where you eat, which was the case back in the day, the amount of credits you pay for these packages now varies depending on the restaurant. So for example, if you choose a dining package at Beer Garden in Epcot, you'll only have to spend 1 credit on that dining package meal. However, at Le Cellier, you'll still need to pay 2 credits since that's a signature restaurant. I know all the DDB talk can be a bit much if you're not already familiar with the lingo, but if you want to study up on this service in your own time to really see what all the fuss is about, we've got some Disney Dining Plan videos on our channel now that I think will help you out a whole lot. The next reason why it was the best year for Disney was tons of new stuff was announced. Since we're on the subject of Disney spending some money on projects to come, it's time to dive into the Disney event that shook us all to our very core in 2024. D23, the Ultimate Fan Event, took place on August 9th to the 11th in Anaheim, California, and was packed with back-to-back celebrity panels, shopping opportunities, and of course, tons of major announcements, especially regarding the future of the parks. So without further ado, I'm going to rapid fire all the things Disney's told us are currently in the works for their theme parks. And they were very clear with us that these are not blue sky ideas anymore where Disney would like them to happen. Disney is actually making these happen as we speak. So in Disney World, we learned more about a new tavern coming to Adventureland in Magic Kingdom. This rambunctious watering hole will offer a welcoming haven for all pirate kind, big and small, and everyone in between, they said. That means this pirate lounge will not be reserved for adults only, though Disney has teased a selection of grogs and grub, so it sounds like we could get some pirate food and hopefully something rum-based too. This lounge is scheduled to open in Magic Kingdom in late 2025. A new lounge is also coming to Epcot. This one's going to be inspired by the grand and miraculous spaceship Earth, aka the giant Epcot golf ball. This sleek lounge sounds like a 180 of the Pirates Lounge coming to Magic Kingdom. Instead of a place inspired by those rapscallions of the sea, this lounge promises to be a very zen, sleek location, an escape away from your busy park day, all housed within a spot filled with rich textures and warm metallic tones. This new lounge, dedicated to all things grand and miraculous, is set to open at Epcot in late spring 2025. Now, following in the footsteps of previous iconic nighttime spectaculars like the Main Street Electrical Parade and Spectro Magic, the new Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away Parade is scheduled to launch in the summer of 2025. This one's going to use the latest technology to tell new stories about Disney's classic characters, so expect to see friends from Encanto and Frozen, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, and more. Magic Kingdom will also be getting 2 new lands in the back of the park. It seems the cars are leaving Radiator Springs to explore the Wild West because Pixar's cars are racing onto the Frontierland scene, along with 2 new Cars-themed attractions. Construction on this new area is slated to begin early in 2025, but put a pin in that for now because I'm starting to have my doubts about it. I'll explain why later on. Along with this new Cars land, Disney also announced that a Villains Land is coming to Magic Kingdom. This is something fans have been asking for so many years. Now, we're already huge fans of Villains Grove that pops up during Oogie Boogie Bash over at Disney California Adventure, so I know I'm gonna vibe with the baddies over here. Be on the lookout for new dining and shopping on an incredibly twisted grand scale, as well as 2 new attractions. Now, we know we've seen a coaster in there somewhere, but we're not sure if there's gonna be 2 coaster attractions or just 1 or what's going on. But if you're keeping count, that's 4 new attractions coming to the back of this park eventually. Now, Magic Kingdom isn't the only Disney World location getting new lands. Animal Kingdom is welcoming a Tropical Americas themed area, Pueblo Esperanza, to the back of its park by 2027. Pueblo Esperanza will feature Encanto and Indiana Jones attractions in a new location inspired by classic Spanish-style architecture with a large hacienda that will host one of the biggest quick-service restaurants in all of Disney World. Now, this area will be replacing Dino Land, and we've already started to hear about a few of those closures coming down the pike, and we'll talk about those later. Oh, I'm sorry, did you think I was done with new theme park lands? Because Disney really blindsided us during D23 when they announced that Monsters Inc. Land will be coming to Hollywood Studios in the future too. Like, where did that come from? The story of the land will pick up after the events of the film, meaning that humans are no longer being traumatized by the monsters, but rather warmly invited into their world. For the first time ever, we'll finally get to visit the Laugh Factory with Sully and Mike. That sounded weird. Mike and Sully. Yeah, that sounds more natural when you say Mike's name first for some reason. So along with dining at the once fictitious Harryhausen's restaurant and shopping in the bustling city of Monstropolis, we'll also be able to experience the first ever suspended coaster inside a Disney park. Finally, we get to dangle from a flying door. Construction on the new land will begin next year. While we already knew Test Track in Epcot was getting an update because it was already closed for a major revamp before D23 took place, we learned a few more details regarding what Test Track 3.0 is going to be like during this event. The updated version of Test Track will highlight the past, present, and future in its upcoming design, with an immersive queue that'll feature 6 distinct exhibits that celebrate vehicles as well as the people behind the vehicles who usher in that next chapter in our collective journey. Imagineers are also busy adding new show scenes that will show showcase technological advances and highlight how our lifestyles and relationships to mobility connect everyone. But the real question is, will Epcot keep Test Track's famous high-speed launch? We'll just have to wait and see. Test Track is slated to reopen in late summer 2025, but they did say we might see the new cars zooming around in early 2025, so our eyes will be open. The new show Zootopia, Better Zoogether, will officially be coming to the Tree of Life Theater at Animal Kingdom in the winter of 2025. Disney explained that the show will take us on an adventure through different biomes as seen in the film. My hope is that the concept art of Officer Clawhauser that you see set off to the right-hand side means we should expect an Officer Clawhauser animatronic similar to the one you can find in Shanghai Disneyland. And as a cherry on top of this loaded Disney World news Sunday, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run will soon include two of the most popular Star Wars characters as of recent years, The Mandalorian and Grogu. The dynamic duo will be added to Smuggler's Run in Galaxy's Edge by 2026. Okay, Disney World, you really took over the conversation there. How's about letting some other parks pitch in now, like Disneyland, for instance? A new Avatar experience is coming to Disney California Adventure, which again, we had already heard some whisperings about before D23, but we got the official confirmation during the event. Unlike the Pandora over in Animal Kingdom, there will be all new adventures inside the DCA version that explore Avatar: The Way of Water, Avatar: Fire and Ash, and more upcoming Avatar films in the making. There will also be a brand new ride that'll take you on a thrilling excursion all the way to the wide open seas of Pandora. Disney California Adventure will also be expanding Avengers Campus to make it double its current size with two new Marvel attractions, including the long-awaited Avengers e-ticket that we now know is going to be called Avengers Infinity Defense, plus a new Iron Man attraction that kind of looks vomit-inducing, but I'll probably try it at least once anyway. Now, if all that DCA stuff wasn't cool enough already, DCA is also going to be bringing a new Coco boat ride attraction to the park, which is set to break ground in 2026. This is the first Coco ride anywhere in the world and very, very exciting. Then over in Disneyland, the first ever park will be bringing the first ever audio animatronic of Walt Disney himself to life on stage. The new show, Walt Disney: A Magical Life, will share a space inside the Main Street Opera House with great moments with Mr. Lincoln, starting on May 16th, 2025. During D23, we also learned a lot about Disney's plans with the Disney Cruise Line, which is like a lot more ships. 13 total to be exact. And the international parks are going to be keeping busy too, especially Disneyland Paris, which is going to be completely transforming its current Walt Disney Studios park into Disney Adventure World, which will bring fresh experiences along with it, like an all-new Lion King land and the world of Frozen opening in 2026. Shanghai Disneyland and Hong Kong Disney will also be stepping into the MCU in the future with new Marvel-inspired attractions, like a Spider-Man roller coaster for Shanghai and a Stark Industries tech ride coming to Hong Kong Disneyland. So, as far as announcements go, yeah, this has been a really good year for Disney, to say the least. But wait, there's more. I guess Disney didn't think we had enough to look forward to as is, so even after the D23 event, we still received more announcements that trickled in during the last half of 2024. For instance, Disney Vacation Club announced a brand new hotel that'll be opening in 2027 called Disney Lakeshore Lodge. Little backstory about this area: originally, the resort that was supposed to be built here was going to be called Reflections at Disney Lakeside Lodge Resort. Remember that one? This was announced back in 2019 and was supposed to be finished in 2022. Construction came to a screeching halt during 2020 because everything came to a screeching halt in 2020. But now Lakeshore/Lakeside is back in action with a slightly new name. According to Disney, the brand new hotel will be inspired by the majesty of nature and its enduring influence on Disney artists. A lot of moving and shaking started happening on the Hollywood studios scene too. First, we learned about a new Disney Villains themed show called Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After that's replacing the former Lightning McQueen Racing Academy and opening up summer 2025. Apparently, this show will feature Captain Hook, Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, and other fiendish foes who will break through the glass and transform the stage into the mysterious reflective realm of the magic mirror. And then, toward the end of the year, we were really blown away by the Rock and Roller Coaster re-theme announcement, since it looks like the Muppets will be taking over and teaming up with some of music's biggest stars for a rock and music festival. Over in Disneyland, we've just been getting hit with the last-minute announcements left and right, leading up to the park's 70th anniversary in 2025. We now know that Paint the Night is officially returning to the park after taking a 6-year hiatus, and the Wondrous Journeys Castle Show will be making a grand comeback too. Now, how about all the shiny new stuff? I know D23 has us just wanting to fast forward time so we can check out all the future new stuff ASAP, but let's not forget what new stuff 2024 brought us this year too. In Disney World, we got Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Magic Kingdom, which had a little bit of a rocky startup with several technical difficulties, but she's getting better-ish. Tiana's Bayou Adventure opened over in Disneyland too in 2024, but instead of opening on June 28th like Magic Kingdom's, Disneyland's version opened just recently on November 15th. And get this, the virtual queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Disneyland is gone now, so you can just walk up to the regular standby line for it if you want to ride during your next visit. Along with the new ride, each Tiana's Bayou Adventure area received new gift shops to go along with it. In Disney World, you can shop till you drop for Princess and the Frog merch inside Critter Co-op. And in Disneyland, you can take home some merch from Ray's Berets and Lewis's Critter Club. Country Bear Musical Jamboree also opened up in Magic Kingdom this summer after a major overhaul with new acts and music, and I'm gonna be real with you, I thoroughly enjoy the new show more than I thought I would, but I'm still a stan for the old one. In Hollywood Studios, as well as Disneyland and Disneyland Paris, Star Tours added new ride scenes back in April to incorporate new Star Wars characters from those popular Disney Plus shows like Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Andor. Communicore Hall and Plaza opened back in June at Epcot, and while we're still waiting to see this new Heart of the Festival really find its stride, that massive gingerbread Spaceship Earth replica Communicore Hall featured during Festival of the Holidays has definitely been my favorite thing to come out of this place so far. I absolutely love it. Now, we waited for a while for the Cake Bake Shop table service and Blue Ribbon Corn Dog kiosk to open up at Boardwalk Inn, but they finally did during the second half of the year. And while they're both very different experiences, our DFB reporters were thrilled to try and review them both. And Disney Vacation Club took over the resort scene for a while. The Fort Wilderness cabins were completely redone to give them all more of a modernized look. Meanwhile, Polynesian Village's DVC Island Tower opened for guests just recently on December 17th, adding over 260 more Disney Vacation Club rooms, as well as new guest pools and Wailulu Bar and Grill. In Disneyland, Fantasmic returned on May 24th, bouncing back after the massive fire which burned down poor Maleficent in 2023. The show had to be tweaked a bit to accommodate around the missing Maleficent dragon, which was damaged beyond repair. And along with those tweaks, Fantasmic also brought back the Peter Pan show sequence on board the sailing ship Columbia. After a multi-year hiatus post-2020 closures, Disneyland brought back the Run Disney races this year, with the Disneyland Half Marathon starting things off on January 11th to the 14th, followed by a Halloween Half Marathon on September 5th to the 8th. Lots of new shops opened in downtown Disney toward the end of 2024, including Avengers Reserve, the SoCal-style D-Landers shop, and Disney Wonderful World of Sweets. And the former Paradise Pier Hotel completely transformed into the Pixar Place Hotel by January 30th. So instead of vintage beach themes, you've now got lots of Pixar Art Deco sprucing up the place. In the rooms, the lobby, the rooftop pool, everywhere. Meanwhile, at Disney Cruise Line, we welcome the Disney Treasure to the ship fleet this year after it took its maiden voyage on December 21st, 2024. Now, if you want to learn all the ins and outs of this new ship before you cruise on it, either next year or later on down the road, we do have a free Disney Treasure Ultimate Guide that you can download by scanning the QR code you see on the screen now, or by heading over to disneyfoodblog.com/treasure after this. But even before the Disney Treasure started sailing away, Disney Cruise Line opened their newest private island destination, Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, which is located over on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas. Lookout Key opened in the beginning of June and has quickly become another popular route for several Disney cruise itineraries. And in the international parks, my favorite new Disney thing that I got to experience this year was the grand opening of Fantasy Springs in Tokyo Disney Sea, which is incredible. Seriously stunning. I think about Cheese the Mouse from Fairy Tinkerbell's Busy Buggies all the time, and I miss him a lot. Fantasy Springs officially opened on June 6th, bringing with it 3 new areas centered around the worlds from Frozen, Tangled, and Peter Pan. I was there on June 6th. It was unbelievably well run and organized. I would expect nothing short of that from Tokyo Disney. It was an epic epic adventure. Oh, and it also opened the brand new Fantasy Springs Resort, which has a direct entrance right into Fantasy Springs, with a valid park ticket, of course. Disneyland Paris reopened the Disneyland Paris Hotel at the start of 2024 after its rooms had been completely remodeled. Now each one is inspired by Disney royal stories, such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Sword in the Stone, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Frozen, Moana, and Raya and the Last Dragon. But the Disney parks aren't the only folks who've been busy lately. The DFB team and I recently launched a brand new DFB guide to Walt Disney World dining series that's taken on a whole new look and format to make planning your Disney World dining itineraries even easier than before. I'm telling you, the team has done incredible work completely transforming this into what's basically a brand new book. Still all the same incredible updated information, but the look and feel of this is gorgeous. Wait until you see it. They have done such an incredible job. In this guide, we've got more food pictures, more secret tips, more dining plan recommendations, more food crawls, more budgeting hacks, more of everything in an easy to follow and super organized format. If you want to purchase our new guide series as a little treat for getting through a wild 2024, make sure to type in code YouTube for an extra discount before you check out. Now, some of the simple Disney things made the biggest serotonin impact on us this year, like rubbing the genie lamp on the Disney treasure, or watching the custodial cast members create water art on the pavement, or having the ability to buy our own Figment Christmas sweater so we could twin with our favorite purple dragon, or even seeing Douglas Fir emerge during the summertime Flavors of Florida event at Disney Springs. We love him! But I think perhaps my favorite wholesome thing to come out of Disney in 2024 was the start of Tiger Tuesdays for Animal Kingdom. So Tiger Tuesdays became a thing after Sonia the tiger, not to be confused with the Frosted Flakes mascot, gave birth to a baby Sumatran tiger back in October. This playful little guy is named Baxo, and he definitely won over everyone's hearts real quickly. So much so, in fact, that Disney started up a weekly online behind-the-scenes series where you can keep an eye on Baxo and his mama to see what they're up to in the comfort of your own home. It's like the Truman Show for tigers. So now every Tuesday you can tune into Disney Parks' YouTube channel to see this happy family in action, and you don't even need a park ticket for it. So it's so awesome to see advanced dining reservations become less and less of a headache over time, because dining reservations have felt like infiltrating Fort Knox in the past. In 2023, Disney started to improve its ADR system for Disney World and Disneyland by making it to where you can see all the available dining reservations for a restaurant you're interested in. For example, if you're looking for a lunch reservation for 50's Primetime Cafe and Disney's Hollywood Studios, a favorite among many, on a Saturday, you can see all the available lunchtime reservations for that day. And then in 2024, another major ADR change was made for both the East and West Coast parks. Now you can view dining availability for multiple days at a time instead of the way it was before, where you could only view one day at a time, or even one time at a time. Within one search, you can see available dining reservations for any given restaurant for 10 days at a time to help give you more flexibility when it comes to planning meals during your trip. This is like my favorite thing to ever happen in Disney World. When Disney Genie Plus was first introduced back in 2021, there was a lot of mixed feedback about this skip the line system, which helps you bypass the main queues in exchange for much shorter ride lines. And when MultiPass came about this year to carry the Lightning Lane torch, well, it was still met with a lot of mixed feedback. But we'll get into the iffy stuff later on. First, let's talk about why the MultiPass switch up of 2024 was just what we needed to help strip that extra layer of planning stress out of our future trips. When MultiPass and Single Pass were introduced back on July 24th, they addressed a lot of the concerns people had with the former Genie Plus system. Instead of having to wake up at 7 a.m. to start making your Lightning Lane selections on the day of your park visit, you can now purchase and pre-select up to 3 multi-passes and up to 2 single passes, either 3 days out if you're staying off Disney property or 7 days out if you're staying on Disney property. Instead of only being able to choose 1 Lightning Lane at a time, you can now hold up to 3 at all times. And instead of waiting to find out how much you're going to pay for your Lightning Lanes until the day of your visit, since the prices fluctuate based on demand, you can now look over those multi-pass and single pass prices a few weeks in advance to plan your budget accordingly. And just for the record, this is the truth over in Disney World, not Disneyland, even though both Lightning Lane services are called the same things in both locations. Disneyland's Lightning Lanes still work very similarly to the way they were before, when they were called Genie Plus. Actually, they're honestly still pretty close to the Max Pass days too, which was the service before Genie Plus took over. Yeah, there's been a lot of change. Now, in short, Disney World's Skip the Ride line services seem to have way more drastic changes than we've seen take place over the years, but Disneyland's remain pretty consistent for the most part. A few months after Multi-Pass and Single Pass came onto the scene, Disney introduced to us a third Lightning Lane service in both Disney World and Land called Premier Pass. This takes the pre-selection process out of the picture entirely and just gives you a single-use Lightning Lane for every single ride with Lightning Lane access at the park you're visiting that day. Now, I'm not one to jump ahead of myself or anything, but I will say that not everyone was welcoming Premier Pass with open arms, especially when they saw the price tag for it. But for those who are taking once-in-a-lifetime Disney trips, or those who are considering booking an ultra-expensive VIP tour for those skip-the-line privileges, the Premier Pass route might not be a bad way to go. And it does seem to be selling out on busy days. And Disneyland Forward was passed. It was a long time coming, but in the end, Disneyland finally got the very thing that they'd been wanting for so long. Rezoning. Hey, everyone's Christmas list looks different, all right? But before we can talk about the happily ever after, I gotta take you back to once upon a time, back when Disneyland Forward first became a thing. In 2021, Disney announced the Disneyland Forward Initiative, a project where Disney and the city of Anaheim could work together to rezone specific parts of Disneyland property to be used for new lands and attractions and experiences. Essentially, Disney wanted to change areas that were initially zoned for specific uses, like hotel spaces or parking lots, and make them a whole lot more exciting. Disneyland's campaign also includes a $1.9 billion investment plan to help bring said experiences to the park. But what are these vague new experiences of which Disney speaketh? While discussing Disneyland Forward, Disney has spitballed future lands that could possibly come to the park as a result of this project, including areas inspired by Coco and Black Panther, Tangled, Frozen, Zootopia, Peter Pan, Tron, and Toy Story. Crossing my fingers and toes for Tangled. But there were a lot of obstacles and pushback that Disney had to overcome, and if they couldn't get this project cleared, Disney would have had to demolish and replace existing attractions to continue developing. However, after years and years of asking, the city of Anaheim finally said yes. On May 7th, 2024, a historic vote was made by the Anaheim City Council to approve the Disneyland Forward project, and just in time for Disneyland's 70th year anniversary in 2025. This means Disneyland can begin to build new experiences for fans, create over 4,500 new jobs in the parks and over 9,000 new jobs in construction over the next 10 years, and bring new revenue to Anaheim. Gonna take a more personal note here for a minute because 2024 was such a big year for the team and me, and I can't move on without talking about that, at least for a second or two. 2024 was DFB's 15-year anniversary. That's right, we hit the big 1-5, and in celebration of that, we had a really fun mega week where a lot of you guys got to win a phone call with me, which was an absolute blast. You know that I'm super introverted and awkward, but I loved talking to everybody I got the chance to chat with about their Disney trips and their history with Disney. It was just so amazing. Now this year was also the year we hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is still really hard to wrap my mind around. Sometimes I still feel like it's just me and my computer and my first little blog and that one little question of what if there was a site out there that really took a deep dive into all things Disney food. This was also the year that I got to announce my new book that's coming out called Disney Adults. It's coming out with Simon & Schuster next year in August. You can pre-order it now. By the way, just go to ajwolf.com and you can learn all about it and pre-order it anywhere you want to buy it from. So I guess I'm recapping all of this to say thank you. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you. We are so happy to be part of your lives, whether you're planning a big Disney trip in the future or even just to be in the background while your family plays a board game after a long day at work or school. We got a lot of exciting stuff planned for 2025 that I'm really hyped to share with you all. But for now, I just want to wrap up this point with a whole bunch of gratitude because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing what I do. There would be no reason to, and none of us here on the team would have the chance to help you with your vacations. And your support does mean the world to us. So thank you for all the emails. Thank you for the kind comments in our YouTube and in our Instagram and Facebook and everywhere you see us. Thank you for subscribing to our newsletter, for reading our blog posts. And of course, a special thank you to all of you who have been with me for 15 years. We've learned a lot. We've changed a lot. And I don't think you realize how important you are to me to keep me going day after day, just to see your comments and hear your responses and know that you remember things that we talked about years ago. It just means the world to me. And I will stop talking now, but thank you. Okay, are you ready for the worst? This is why this year has been really crummy for Disney. Number one, Epic Universe and stealing Disney's thunder. Come on, you knew we had to talk about this first. No matter what Bob Iger says, Universal Orlando is about to make a huge impact on the theme park scene starting May 22nd, 2025, when this new third gate opens up for the first time ever, bringing with it 5 new lands: Celestial Park, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, and Dark Universe. But we learned little by little everything about these new lands all throughout 2024. And I'm not saying that this made us less excited for the things that are coming to Disney World, but there's no denying that we're more excited for Epic Universe right now, just because that's what we're going to get first before all those other new Disney World and Disneyland areas are built and ready to see the light of day. Disney doesn't seem too nervous about their competitors' prospects, though. In a previous earnings call, Disney CEO Bob Iger admitted that the company has known about Epic Universe for years, which is why they've been beefing up their parks with other new lands and attractions in preparation for that. Iger also mentioned that the company doesn't expect the opening of Epic Universe to drastically hurt their own park numbers, since they'll more than likely pick up a lot of Universal's overflow crowd. He basically said anytime something new opens in Orlando, everybody benefits, which I get it, that's probably true. Not to mention, families are more than likely expand their vacations to try and see both Universal and Disney parks just to make their trip more worthwhile. Whether that's really going to be the case or not is still up in the air, but all we know right now is that we cannot wait to step foot through Epic Universe's portals and see if our high expectations can possibly be met, or perhaps even exceeded. We are so hyped, in fact, that we've even got that Harry Potter inspired tee up on the dfbstore.com website that we're planning on wearing for the big opening. And this shirt makes a huge promise that I think all you Potter fans already know by heart. I solemnly swear I am up to no good. Even if you're excited for the changes coming to the Disney parks, it still might have hurt to learn about the soon-to-be closures for attractions that we Disney folks have grown up with, or on the other side of things, it hurts to learn that there'll be some classic Disney attractions you're never going to have the chance to experience as a first-time future guest. For starters, Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island in Magic Kingdom will be closing sometime in 2025 to make room for the new Cars attractions. And this really shocked a lot of folks, including us. We had no idea that this whole Cars thing was going to happen. And losing something as central, literally, to the park as Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island is very hard to get our heads around. While we've been told this closure might be happening in early 2025, we've got reason to believe that maybe Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer's Island might be sticking around for a little bit longer. In August 2024, Disney filed a permit for a project site just east of the Magic Kingdom to install a treatment facility for stormwater drained from the Rivers of America area. But because of some miscommunication between South Florida Water Management District and the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, it seems CFTOD is going back to the drawing board to try and fix their original permit proposal to get this project greenlit. Disney will likely not proceed with any construction until the permit has been approved, not to mention they still need to file other permits for the actual demolition and construction work to take place in Magic Kingdom. So there's a good possibility we might not see work actually beginning for any of those Frontierland expansions until mid or late 2025, but no promises. Only time will tell. Meanwhile, over in Animal Kingdom, Dinoland USA is where the new Pueblo Esperanza is going to go, and I think I've made my peace with this because I really do think the Tropical Americas expansion is going to be cool once it's all said and done. And permits are moving right along with this project. While the new land isn't expected to open until 2027, the first phase of closures will take away Triceratops Spin, Fossil Fun Games, and Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures RIP, I love that store, in Animal Kingdom on January 12th, 2025. Well, that's the last day it'll be open. It'll close on the 13th. But what about the dinosaur attraction? What's going to become of that? Well, the good news, we do not have to say goodbye to it just yet. According to Disney, 2025 is your year to visit Dinosaur before it goes extinct. So if you're wanting to get that dino one more time, it seems like you're still going to have one more whole year to do so. It's Tough to Be a Bug will also be closing in Animal Kingdom soon to make way for the new Zootopia show coming winter 2025. And I've definitely made my peace with that one, though I understand if you're bummed as a Bug's Life fan. But possibly the future closure that hits Disney fans the hardest in 2024 has been the Muppets Courtyard closure announcement for Hollywood Studios. This is where the future home of Monstropolis is now going to go. Listen, I love Monsters, Inc. It is probably my favorite Disney movie because it's my kid's favorite Disney movie because his favorite character has always been Sully. He has 2 little Sullys that he sleeps with and he absolutely loves them. But I'm not going to lie, this one hurts. I'm really going to miss all the quirky theming in this area, especially all the little hidden Easter eggs that really made this place special. A net full of Jell-O, I will never forget you. Now, if you know, you know, and I want you to let me know in the comments all of your very favorite Muppets hidden Easter eggs and jokes so that we can have a compendium of them all right here in the comments section of this video. Now, there will be a continued Muppets presence in Hollywood Studios because they're going to retheme Rock and Roller Coaster to the Muppets, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I know, just as long as we don't eradicate the Muppets entirely, I think I'll still be able to sleep at night, though whenever we do learn about Muppet Vision's official closing date, that's going to rip open the wound for a little bit. Now, as far as closures that have already happened in 2024 to make way for Disney's new stuff, we did lose Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy on October 7th, so that Villains Unfairly Ever After could start moving in. And while I am looking forward to seeing Cruella and Captain Hook and Maleficent and other fiendish Disney foes take over the main stage, I am just as curious as all of you to see how this area of the park transforms. Since the new Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster will be right next door to the Villains, I don't know, that feels like an interesting choice, so we're gonna have to wait and see. Now, this point doesn't shock me anymore because I've come to expect it. Disney raised the prices across the board for food, hotels, park tickets, even valet parking. And that's not just for Disney World. We saw price increases happening over in Disneyland too, especially for the starting prices of multi-day tickets. Now, 2-day tickets have gone from $155 to $165, 3-day tickets have gone from $130 to $139, 4 days from $112 to $119, and 5 days from $96 to $103. There was also a 20% increase on Magic Key annual passes, a similar price increase to Disney World's for every Disney World annual pass tier except for the highest Incredipass. And price increases happen pretty regularly across the parks, but more often than not, you'll see a wave of them appear around October each year. So when it comes to your future Disney vacations, always save some buffer money, like an extra $200 or so, just so you have a little extra to fall back on in case Disney starts bumping up those prices by another $1 or $2 before your visit. And we're back to Lightning Lane changes again. Hooray! Here's the thing. Disney had hinted back in 2023 that Disney Genie Plus was going to change in some sort of capacity. So the fact that it changed into MultiPass isn't what shocked us. What actually shocked us was how Disney announced this change and then only gave us a month before officially launching said new system. Now that was a wild time. Maybe this point is more about how it was the worst for guests instead of the worst for Disney. Many folks found themselves sandwiched in between the Lightning Lane changes, right smack dab in the middle of their trips. So if they wanted Lightning Lanes during the first half of their trip, they'd have to use the Genie Plus system initially. But if they wanted to use them for the second half, they were going to have to use the MultiPass system after that. Very confusing. Why would you do this in the middle of the summer? And what made that situation even worse for folks caught in those crosshairs is that they didn't have the pre-selection privilege on MultiPass's launch day, so they were missing one of the biggest perks about multi and single pass, just because their trip fell at the wrong time. MultiPass also didn't give us the greatest first impression when it initially launched, since we were met with a few tech glitches, but hey, that's bound to happen to the new kid on the block, so I get it. But that's why I always warn y'all about going to try the new things in Disney just as soon as they release, because there's bound to be a few hiccups that pop up when it comes to brand new tech. Overall, I do prefer MultiPass and Single Pass over Genie Plus now that we've had time to get to know these services better. I think they're just easier to navigate and they don't make you feel like your nose has to be in your phone all day long. However, I will say I really miss how Genie Plus used to have Lightning Lanes for select character meet and greets. And I feel like I took that for granted. MultiPass seems to have tossed those character Lightning Lanes aside, but who knows, maybe they'll bring them back again someday. And let's not forget about our super spectacular brand new DFB guide to Walt Disney World dining over on dfbstore.com right now. If you want to check out our brand new guide that's looking better and brighter and more helpful than ever, go ahead and use the code YouTube to save some money on that new digital book purchase. Now, if you've bought this guide before, it looks completely different this year. We completely revamped the whole thing, so I hope you love it. Okay, friends, how would you rank this year for Disney on a scale of 1 to 10? No matter what number you come up with, just remember that the DFB team is going to be here for you throughout 2025 and beyond to help you create future Disney vacations that'll be perfect 10s across the board, no matter what announcements and changes Disney comes up with next. And don't forget to pick up our free Disney Treasure Ultimate Guide over at disneyfoodblog.com/treasure if you're ready to jumpstart your future cruising plans ASAP. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we will see you real soon. Can't wait for 2025.